Hey, how's it going, everyone? Can you actually retire on $1 million invested into dividend stocks? We might as well end the video right here and right now because, yes, $1 million is absolutely more than enough for retirement. I'll talk to you next time. Stay safe, everyone. I'm just pulling your testicles. This is actually part 4 in the dividend retirement series, and unfortunately or fortunately, the last one for the time being. Unless you guys are enjoying it and want to see a bigger number portfolio or specific shares as the hypothetical investments. Deep down, I really want to do and make one about $2 million. But I want to be cognizant that people are probably sick and tired of this topic. Likewise, the same feelings that we get when Hollywood celebrities virtue signal to us commoners about green earth habits when they're using their private jets to fly 35 minutes to just grab dinner. Alright, now that I've calmed myself down, the high yield dividend choices that we will be throwing the $1 million into will be Number 1, Altria. They're in the business of nicotine. And deep down, I say it time and time again, I despise them, but they do have a delicious dividend. Number 2 is going to be Ares Capital Corporation, which is a BDC. For simplicity's sakes, you can think of them as an ETF. And number 3 is going to be JEPQ, a covered call ETF on the NASDAQ 100. And last but not least, Main Street Capital, which is probably the most popular BDC on the market. And oddly enough, I actually made an analysis video about each one of these stocks. So if you're curious and hiding in the closet, well, it might be time to come on out. And broken down, I tried to expose most of the $1 million capital towards the higher dividend yield choices, which meant 50% of it into JEPQ, 25% of it into ARK, 15% of it into Altria, and of course 10% of it into Main Street Capital. And by the way, there's a lot of YouTube videos being uploaded every single day, right? And sometimes you'll click on one because of the flashy thumbnail and catchy title. Then, like 20 seconds in, you quickly realize the video is horrific and you swipe away. Well, if you ever run across a video thumbnail that has that little cheese that you see on the bottom right corner, then you will have a seal of approval that it will be high quality and worth your time. Kind of like when you're hungry and you're trying to decide which fast food burger you want to eat. Why not just go with McDonald's? Because they have that consistent good taste. Yes, their beef patties have been getting smaller throughout the years, but their fries and their taste is just very consistent, right? It's good. Then, of course, unless you hate yourself and you prefer Burger King, I honestly think Burger King's downfall in every single metric needs to be studied because they used to taste so wonderful. But now, whenever I think about Burger King and my past 10 visits with them, I just think of Burger King as trash and gross. I'm sorry, that might be an unpopular opinion, but it is what it is. Now let's go ahead and look at the numbers that you actually care about. The dividend yield was just shy of 9%. The annual dividend payout was roughly $90,000, and the monthly dividend payout was about $7,400. Let's just go ahead and say $7,500. And I don't know about you, but boy, does this look like a beautiful, juicy, and wonderful dividend retirement portfolio. It reminds me of the first time that I ever went camping, which happened to be in the Army. And I'll never forget how the night sky looked. Despite how terrible the training was at the time, there's a sense of awe and wonder when you see a starry night. And then you get put into a headlock of reality when you realize the guys sleeping next to you snore louder than a post-Taco Bell fart. I hope you laughed. Anyhow, if this dividend portfolio grows for the next 20 years at a rate of 3% annually, and the dividend payout grows 1.5% year over year, then this is what we would be looking at. The dividend payout would be $124,000 a year, up from that $90,000 initially. And please put your hands and big toe down. I'm going to answer your question. These are the valuations that you see if we do not reinvest the dividends, meaning we would use all of the dividends that we get as income to spend in our day-to-day lives. The final portfolio value would be $1.8 million, and I think that's pretty good. However, let's dive a little deeper and look at the dividend income throughout the years as your pubes turn more and more gray. And what's funny is I'm old, but I'm not old enough where the carpet matches the curtains. And maybe I'm immature, but I find bushy pubes to just be absolutely hilarious. Like, what's the biological reason for our ding-dongs to have an overgrown eyebrow above them? Like, does anyone know? Anyways, what you see on your screen right now is the dividend income year after year for this hypothetical portfolio. And by the end of year 7, the dividend income will become that coveted and highly desired six-figure income. And here's the thing, the portfolio's dividend payout won't grow at the biggest rate, but it's small and cute and reliable. Kind of like your puppy. Man, I'll tell you what, dogs are the best. Whenever I have a bad day, I just sit on the floor with my dogs and I instantly feel a little bit better. So I was analyzing the data surrounding dividend compounders with cheese, and I started laughing to myself because I realized about 18% of you watch these videos on a television. And the reason why it's funny to me is because I can picture a man in his mid-40s with a beer belly, butt-ass naked on his bed with a can of Pringles, just chilling out to some dividend content. And I'll say it right here, I love to see it. But no, seriously, if you watch this channel on a TV, you're exactly the type of person I would want to share a glass of beer with. Then again, it also begs the question, why do I consume all of my YouTube videos when I'm on the toilet with my phone? Maybe I should start using the TV. That sounds like a really smart idea. So let's answer the original question. Can I retire with $1 million invested into dividend stocks? Absolutely. If you say you can't, you're just being greedy or strange. With about $100,000 a year in dividends pouring in, you're telling me you can't be happy and retired? I mean, I get it. $500,000 a year in dividends would be better, but $100,000 in dividends is pretty good in my opinion. Then again, if you're trying to settle down and make this work in Seattle or New York City, you have valid concerns. I hear you. But for the majority of people, I think 100 grand in dividends is sufficient, unless you have like 9 kids that you have to support and like 3 wives. Did you just describe a Mormon family? Jokes aside, Mormons are probably the most friendliest people I've ever encountered in my life. Now, I did my undergrad and master's degree in the state of Virginia. So with this dividend income, I want to figure out if buying an affordable home is possible in Virginia, because that's what I would probably do. Because the thing is, I wouldn't want to be a renter when I declare retirement. I think with this income of $100,000, it should be more than enough for a home, especially to pay for the mortgage. Or will it? All right, everyone, I'm using Zillow. I am not an investor of them or sponsor, but it's just what I like to use because I'm comfortable with it. So right now, I'm going to try to figure out where I can buy some property in Virginia that's affordable. And this is going to be completely unscripted, so I might stumble on my words a little bit, so bear with me. All right, this is a little bit harder than I thought, but let me see if I can make this work. Let's see. All the way down to Virginia Beach, going over here near Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia. That looks kind of like Virginia, okay? So let's go ahead and apply this, and let's see what we end up with. So my parameters is the home cannot be more than $300,000 in valuation, minimum of 2 beds and 1.5 baths, and I am only looking at houses and townhouses. With these metrics in place, let's see what we have. We have this home in Bristol, Virginia for about 300 grand. It's 1,700 square feet. Let's take a look at this. I'm not a real estate investor. It's just that eventually I do want to buy a home. My life has been kind of chaotic with my career, so I've always had to move. And so I've never had the opportunity to buy a house. I always had to be a renter. However, now that I'm considering retirement in the next decade or so, I am looking at houses to finally purchase. I'm not going to lie to you, this house looks pretty good. Does anyone know anything about Bristol, Virginia? I would love to live here, and it even has a garage for my hobbies. And look at the backyard. My goodness, this is what I'm talking about, fellers. This is what retirement should look like. If you're asking what's the catch, well, there you have it. It's in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. And I say middle of nowhere because it's right here. I was hoping it would be congregated near one of the big metropolitan areas like DC, Nova, Richmond, Virginia Beach, or even Roanoke, but it's like right here. I guess it's kind of near Virginia Tech. Blacksburg. Oh my goodness, this one almost looks fake. Staunton, Virginia, 265 grand. This looks great though. I think this looks fantastic. 2,300 square feet. I like what I see. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. As a guy that grew up in Nova, which is the suburbs of Washington, D.C., I would probably never consider living in anything in this western half as a no-go for me. So let me redo this with my realistic expectations because I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy a house in Nova for about 300 grand. So let's go ahead and bump this up to like 350 just to increase our odds of finding a retirement home. That looks like Nova to me. So let's apply that and see what we're working with. There's only 52 homes available with these parameters in place. Now let's see. We got Woodbridge, Germantown. Oh man, I did not circle. So there's some stuff in West Virginia and Maryland popping up. But we're only interested in Nova, which is Virginia. We got West Virginia. Woodbridge is okay, but it has really bad traffic to get to Washington, D.C. That's the only downside about Woodbridge. And I promise, if you're bored by me going through this real estate catalog, this is going to be over soon. I just need to find one home that's viable in Nova, this geographic region. And the reason why I say it's viable is because it has some of the best education in the country. It has plenty of things to do, and the diversity of people and thought is just really underrated. If you want any type of food cuisine, you're going to find it in Nova. And not only that, I would say for the most part, a majority of the residents that live in this area are well educated, and they tend to be friendly. All right, folks, I guess this is what we will be settling on. A 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,100 square foot house in Stafford, Virginia, which is kind of near Manassas. Honestly, it looks like nothing special. Let's see what the description says. This home feels so much larger than 1,100 square feet as it's advertised. The 3 bedrooms are a welcome feature for the growing family. I just want to know, is it a turnkey? All rooms have closet space? I sure hope so. And the fenced-in yard is good to blah, blah, blah. Start your, oh yeah, my partner would love to hear that. Start a garden. This is the perfect for the commuter that needs to go to Quantico from the Marine Corps base, Northern Virginia, or the Pentagon. So they're trying to appeal to the military crowd. Now, if you want to see something crazy, right now they're trying to sell this house for about 300 grand, right? And they're going to get cash offers and people are going to overpay. The final buying price is probably going to be around $330,000. But anyways, when you look at this home back in 2016, it was worth about $140,000, which means it went up in valuation by about, like 105, 110%, which is pretty insane to think about. And before I move on to the conclusion of the video, so what are we getting? About $7,500 in dividends a month, right? The mortgage payment is $1,800 with utilities and insurance baked in. It's probably what, $2,400? So I think this house would be absolutely possible if you retire on $1 million and you want to move to Nova. That's just my personal opinion. All right, friends, here's a shower thought that's kind of off topic. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry. When I was younger, I hated the idea of being alone, being single, and not being surrounded by friends. I didn't know what it meant to do things by myself or to just sit alone with my thoughts. I would feel very uncomfortable. So I made an active effort to be constantly near my people. To elaborate, one point in my life, I had a dozen or so very close friends that I would call brothers. And beyond that, I had about 200 people in my life I would label as good friends. However, slowly, over the years, as people in my life have physically moved away, so have the strength in those friendships. Because of my corporate career, I moved 3 times in 3 years. And prior to that, with the Army, it's all about PCSing. So I'm not entirely innocent here. But in the past year or so, my mentality and perspective has finally matured. And I would say that my outlook has changed regarding this dependence on other people. With each year that I age, I understand just how hard it is to keep up with friendships. I'm at the point where I only really have my partner and my dog. And fortunately, the YouTube comments section with the regulars that comment. Shout out to you guys. And the thing is, I'm not lonely or depressed. I feel content and satisfied because I get a lot of fulfillment from living a purposeful life and from the videos that I am creating on YouTube. I mean, with that said, I wish this channel had more views and likes, but that's out of my control. I think what I'm trying to say is, I know, shower thoughts are very random and all over the place. I finally know what it means to enjoy the peace that's found in solitude, the art of being alone. So, my question to you is this just me? Or is it a natural phase that all men go through where eventually the only friends they will have are their family and people in their shared interest groups, like dividend investing? You're probably thinking to yourself, what in the hairy nipples is going on with this guy? What is he talking about? But it's a genuine question from me to you. Is this something you have experienced, or am I being weird? Because if I'm being the odd one here, then you gotta let me know so I can make the necessary changes and make an effort to make friends in real life. With that said, if there's an individual or someone in your heart that you haven't talked to in a while, I challenge you to reach out to them, because I imagine there's other people who are in my situation, that are alone, but instead of feeling peace, they might feel miserable and hopeless. So your phone call of just catching up might be the biggest blessing in their week. Unless it's a call to your ex-boyfriend. Please don't do that, because he has a restraining order against you, and your current wife does not know that you had a curiosity phase in college. Jokes aside, have a good rest of your day, sir, and stay safe. Dividend Compounders with Cheese, signing out.